Also with me this hour, Edward Luce, who is the U.S. national editor at the Financial Times and joins me now. Good to have you with us. When we look at how things were playing out, I was also struck by Keir Starmer today and the way he clearly knows exactly who he is dealing with in trying to really flatter Donald Trump, continue to talk about, as Alex was pointing out, the historic nature of things, bringing him the letter from King Charles and having him open it in that moment on camera, but really, in some ways, sort of laying it on a little thick. How effective do you think this is ultimately?
Well, sort of in the long term, probably not effective at all. In the short term, though, Trump is susceptible to flattery, and the foreign leaders study his psychology. And, this is clearly one of the traits that Trump is very sort of brazenly manifests. He likes praise. He likes people to self-abase a little bit. And there was a little bit of that in the Starmer Trump optics, and that flourish of the handwritten invitation from King Charles to Trump was the sort of cherry on the cake, if you like. If this then proves not to be enduring, the effects of flattery, what I call bringing fruits to the volcano, then we'll get the real test. And the test is, when Starmer says we cannot reward the aggressor, will Britain stick to its guns and indeed deepen cooperation with other European nations that have had epiphanies about America under Trump in the last couple of weeks?
Do you think deepening those relationships is a question at this point, or is it a necessity?
Well, I think if you listen to the German incoming Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, it's a necessity. And he has in fact asked for Britain and France to extend their nuclear umbrellas over Germany, something I would never have expected to hear from a German leader. Britain, though, is, it always sees itself as having a special relationship with the United States. And in terms of things like intelligence cooperation, it does have a special relationship. But that means Britain's I think a little bit easier to seduce away from the European consensus than other countries. And if, as Trump hinted, that he plans to exempt the UK from the 25% tariffs he's threatening to impose on the European Union, that will make Starmer's task all the more difficult. It'll be a dilemma for him.
To that point, what is the leverage that the UK would have?
On trade, well, I mean, depending on whose measure you take, the British measure, Britain has a modest surplus of about 80 billion with the United States. Under the American measure, it has a modest deficit. So it's roughly in balance. But I think the sort of future of UK-U.S. trade negotiations was hinted at by Vance's presence there. And Vance, speaks for the big tech companies here. And they want Britain to break away from the European sort of digital regulation consensus. They want free rein, the AI giants, for the Magnificent Seven, for the big tech companies. And that would be controversial politically in Britain.
Edward Luce, good to have your insight. Thank you.
Thank you.